Hello and welcome to the Wisden Daily Vodcast, coming at you straight after the third day at Edgbaston. I'm Rana and I'm joined by the PA's Rory Dollard. On the whole, Rory, it's been quite a breathless test match, perhaps with the exception of Shea Pujara, giving us some time to breathe at the end of the third day. India lead by 257 with 7 wickets in hand. Look, Rory, the day started with Bairstow reaching his third 100 in as many games. His least outrageous, but possibly the most sustainable in the way that he blunted an extremely impressive attack before exploding in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, we're living through something quite special with Jonny Bairstow because it's not obvious that it's got a limit or a ceiling on it. He's playing beautifully. He's believing in himself. He's almost white ball Johnny in Test cricket, and I suppose watching him around the group and in the morning at practice, he looks like he's found something in himself that he didn't really know he had. He just looks so happy and confident and calm, and that hasn't been the case with Johnny. It's often been a struggle, and we know it's been, he's had his great moments when things have been tough and when it's been hard for him, or he's feel like he's got a point to prove. But we're not doing that anymore. Now he comes in, the crowd roars because they love him, and they expect him to score runs, and so we're in a new thing now. And I mean, we've just come in from the press conference, and he's acting like a stand-up comedian. I've never thought Jonny Bairstow should guest host Have I Got News For You before. This is basketball.
I think the confidence is quite an easy thing to pick up on, because I think to be confident enough to just blunt it for so long, kind of in the knowledge that he can score quickly afterwards, and there's never he never got the sense that he was putting himself under any sort of pressure. He got the sense he knew he could pick up the scoring rate later in the day, even though that's not something that necessarily has to be done.
What I would say is Shami bowled spectacularly well. If you look at the figures, it doesn't tell you the proper story of how well he bowled, and Johnny, really, he has been trying to really go on the attack, and he wasn't going to get on top of Shami in that way. But the tipping point of the innings did come, and he's flat out denied it in the press conference, because that's what people do. But Kohli had a little dart at him. He had a little go at him, and they had a bit of a tete-a-tete. Nothing crazy, nothing by football standards, just a few nice words, but there was a bit of shushing, and Johnny gave him a little tap on the shoulder, and from that point onwards he exploded, and I struggle to believe that he didn't just get the beans going and say, do you know what, I'm in the form of my life, you don't put me back in a box.
Yeah, I was thinking about this earlier today. Is he the best all-form batter in the world right now? Because none of the Fab Four are elite, very, very elite T20 batters at the moment. Rohit Sharma isn't either. Babar Azam's strike rate in T20 cricket is middling. David Warner's not having a great time of it in Test cricket. I mean, arguably he is, which is just a crazy thought to have had just 6 months ago.
Yeah, you couldn't say anybody is ahead of him.
Maybe Pant.
Well, yeah, but I'd say Johnny's got him covered at the moment, but Pant's got a chance to shoot for the stars tomorrow. So we'll see. You can never have too many people in fantastic form, and Babar probably has a good shout on that, and he is class. But the fact that we can have the conversation and discuss Johnny as a real live option for that is great news, because England have a lot of cricket to play in every single format, and every captain, every coach, because we have loads of them now, will want him in the team.
Looking ahead to what he could achieve this summer and this year is quite fun. So no English batter has ever scored more than 4 Test hundreds in a home summer. He's on 3 with 3.5 tests to go. No English batter has scored more than 6 hundreds across the calendar year. He's on 5 with 6.5 to go. And then looking at his overall career record, it's basically identical to that of Stokes. 5,280 runs from 150 innings, 1,100, average of 36.16 for Stokes. 21 runs more from Bairstow from 3 more innings with a slightly higher average. His 100 today was in contrast to Stokes' almost skitty innings. Caught mid-off, the ball after being dropped mid-off, dropped at cover. And I thought him getting out to Shardul caught at mid-off was the most inevitable thing that happened all day.
Yes, I mean, we know that Stokes isn't ever going to be a player who the story is told by the numbers. The numbers are average. they're not spectacular. But what he does is spectacular, and actually at the moment you could argue, which is almost in direct contrast to what we thought when he was being talked about for this job, is actually maybe he's the most important as captain. Maybe that's suddenly his most important role in this team, is setting the tone, freeing the shackles, making people like Jonny Bairstow, who maybe didn't think that they could play in this way and allowing them. So Stokes was a bit much today, and it's the second time now that he's been a bit much, and he probably will want to review that. It's a game of chicken in a little bit with him and Brendan McCullum. I feel like neither of them want to be the guy who pumps the brake first. Whether it's whether somebody is going to have that conversation, I don't know. But I thought it was strange today when Ben Stokes got out and sort of threw his head back laughing and sort of like, what am I like? I'm just incorrigible, And it was a little bit unserious for what was going on. But yeah, I mean, he got a big wicket with the ball, Kohli. He can do remarkable things with the bat, but maybe this sort of conducting the choir that he's doing at the moment, maybe that's what he needs to be doing right now.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting comment from KP on Sky when talking about Stokes' batting. He basically said that Stokes is devaluing his wicket with the way he goes about things at the moment, and you can still hold high value on your wicket whilst being positive, and Stokes isn't quite getting that balance right. But another part of it is, how critical can we be of Stokes and his approach? Because England's record before he took over was dreadful. They've turned things around in remarkable fashion, and if he loses a wicket like that, I mean, he's averaging more at the moment batting like this as he was in the last 2 years when he was being a lot more watchful.
Yeah, you'd be mindful, given what we've seen over the last month of cricket, of throwing out the baby with the bathwater, because what you don't want to do is for other players, I suppose, to see Stokes second-guessing his own words. And there will be a time, there will be a point where they have to step it back and have a think a bit more measured. Maybe this first summer even, maybe the whole summer isn't the time to do that. We'll see how South Africa go. They've got a great attack as well, but there is a question that Stokes is, in a way that Owen Morgan did. Owen Morgan failed a lot, didn't he? As a batsman, he failed a lot in over that 4-year period where England became really, really good at white ball cricket. And sometimes Morgan, I always thought, he showed them that it was okay to fail, and that you weren't nervous about your place or your status in the dressing room, and that failing was part of the life cycle of cricket. It really is. So if Stokes is playing that role, great, but I'd love to see him play a blinder in a big chase. We know how that goes when it happens.
England are miles off in this game, absolutely miles off. It takes something extraordinary for them to get back into it. At the end of the day, this is a very, very good India team with a very good attack. England have a lot of the same players who really struggled for a long time in Test cricket, and despite the success this summer, there's a lot of players with still a lot to prove in Test cricket. All the big structural problems that we're talking about with English cricket, they haven't disappeared overnight. And the Test match so far has just basically been a case of a very good team just being better than quite a good team, basically.
Yeah, I think the surprise probably is that it looked like the schedule had played into England's favour.
That's true.
Because England have come, they're very well drilled now into this idea. They're right on the money. They've got the same squad, the same 11 near enough, give or take 1 or 2 people, that they started the summer with. India have rocked up intending to play a white ball series, and they've had to cobble 2 squads and do that whole thing where they're sort of running 2 things at once. So there was a question that maybe England might have them here, just because the first tests of a tour often do go that way. So that was my wonder. It hasn't done that. How well India have bowled with the red ball, the red Duke's ball over here. We often talk on tours about the change of conditions and change of ball, and it takes them a little while to get up to speed. Maybe we bemoan that there's not 5 first-class matches to get up to speed. India have got off the plane, had a little dart against half of a Leicestershire team, and playing brilliant Test cricket in England. So this is a proper team.
Yeah, one thing on that is I watched a lot of that Leicestershire warm-up game, and Prasad Krishnan has got a bowling average of 17 in first-class cricket, and he was all over the place with a brand new ball. It's a very hard thing to bowl with if you're not used to it. So to see Siraj, I thought Siraj was brilliant today. He bowling upwards of 90 miles per hour, and I don't think he's that reliant on the ball moving as well, and he's got so much control. Just on India, what are your early thoughts on Bumrah as captain? He's not really done the job ever before.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how he's captained this match. Really, I don't know if he's setting the tone. It'd be interesting. On the field, he's probably been aided by the weather. He was allowed to just bowl himself and Shami a lot, and the weather helped them. So I don't know how he would have managed the attack. He hasn't bowled Jadeja much. I suppose it was quite a strong decision not to pick Ashwin. It's the decision they made 4 times over here last summer, but that is a strong decision. Whether it's him or Dravid, I'm not sure. And it'll be interesting. There's a lot of senior players and a lot of figureheads in that team. And India did step it back in terms of the pace in the evening, like you mentioned earlier. Pujara set his stall out. He was scoring at 35 run rate. We thought that was banished with the dinosaurs, didn't we? 35. But was that Jasprit Brummer's strong leadership telling him to do that, or was that Pujara walking out because he's done it a million times before and choosing? We might see how he stacks up as a captain if England get their teeth into this chase, because that's when heads go. England can, as we've seen against New Zealand, can get inside people's heads and under their skin, and it takes a captain to be quite cool and calm. So we'll see a bit more of Bumrah when there's a chase on, up and running.
Yeah, I thought it was quite interesting how he dropped the field back to Bairstow. He did get to slow Bairstow down in a way that we haven't actually seen that much this summer. Yes, the attack he's got at his disposal is better than the one that Kay Willis and Tom Latham did. To finish, we've got a great question in from Robert O'Sullivan and his dad. Question here from my dad. When England were bowling and the ball goes through to the wicketkeeper, the keeper always will throw the ball past Joe Root to whoever's in second slip. This isn't that odd, but it is odd that every time, no matter who's the keeper, Billings, Folkes, Bairstow or Butler, Root always goes to catch it, but lets it go through him. Is this a known superstition among the England team, or is it just a quirk of Joe Root? Root does seem to do some shining of the ball from time to time, so it's not like he's one to have the ball in hand while fielding. I'm aware the answer here could be a fat dunno, but it's driving my dad mad ever since he noticed it a few years ago. It's taken a while to write in, and the answer you may have or may get would be much appreciated. I mean, I think it is a dunno.
I've got a big fat dunno, yeah. I don't know if you've got any better than that. I think one, I would say it's excellent from the O'Sullivans there. Yeah. Good spot. You've probably ruined a few people's enjoyment of England in the field, because when you see those little quirks, it really can drive you mad. I might find out. I'll try and find out and see what we can do about that. But Joe Root is just like kind of, it's interesting that he said a few years, because he got quite worn down by the captain, but he's kind of a silly guy, and he loves messing with the field, and he loves messing with the fans. Ben Stokes has started celebrating crowd catches. I don't know if you've noticed that. Yeah. This summer he started throwing the ball up when he's taking a crowd catch. So cricketers are kind of weird guys as well. Yeah. The superstitions like that do creep in. I don't know why Joe Root refuses to take the ball at first slip, but whether it is just as simple as he's doing a repeated gag to keep himself, because that's a long day. England have had a hell of a lot of long days in the field in these last few years. And whether it's just keeping switched on by doing something every time, I don't know. But interesting one.
That's a fantastic answer, Rory, and it's been great having you on. We'll be back from day 4 tomorrow. Cheers.